So we're back for another episode of JagCast. Yes, they let us have episode number 2. I am your host, the editor-in-chief of the Mesquite, Oscar Gonzalez. This is my co-host, one of our reporters, Jerry Quijano. And special guest today is Alison Garcia, the Student Government Association President, SGA President, who's on her, let's see, how many months officially now?
Since May, so 6 months in so far. So thank you for having me.
I don't know. Thanks for coming on. So wanted to talk to you about a couple things that are going on, especially both here on campus and just as general at college student sort of things.
Right, of course.
So first off, big thing that's coming up for the SGA, that is the Spurs Night.
Yes.
So. Tell us all about Spurs Night. How did this happen? What's going on?
It actually started in the spring. The previous president, SGA president, on this holiday, him and I sat down with Spurs Entertainment Group. We kind of the goal was kind of to get us out to the community a little bit more. So we met with him once. By that point, everything kind of just dropped. It got too busy, too much going on, elections. But we had in a first initial meeting of we were looking at different avenues that we could take with Spurs Entertainment Group. And the great thing about working with Spurs Entertainment, it's not just going to games. Student orgs can decide to hold events there. We can, rec sports can decide to, if they're intramurals basketball, they can have their championship game on the court itself.
Oh,
right.
Really?
So it's not just going to the game itself. So in the summer, I reached out to one of the Spurs group sales, and I said, hey, I am looking at starting a new tradition on campus. I want to have A&M San Antonio Night at a Spurs game.
All right.
Everyone loves the Spurs. It's a great tradition to have for all of us, students, faculty, staff, alumni, to really kind of get out, cheer together, get to know each other. So with this first game, it is going to be a pregame. So we actually will be in the balcony of the newly renovated center, and we'll actually be there early to actually watch the Spurs practice.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to watch them practice. Dr. Matson will be there. Myself will be there. This is open to everyone. This is friends and family. And the great thing about this, too, is I'm trying to bring alumni back. We don't have an alumni association, and we need our alumni association. We have 5,000 alumni right now. They want to come back. We just need to bring and rein them in.
All right.
So this is a great, I think, event that will happen next week. Everyone's really excited about it. I think at one point we kind of sold out in tickets, so they had to make more room for us, which is a good thing, you know. So, and I wanted to make the tickets reasonable enough, but I didn't want nosebleeds for everyone either. So, you kind of have to try and find a middle ground. So this is hopefully that we'll have A&M San Antonio Night every fall. For years to come. And this is a great way to also market ourselves to the university to the city of San Antonio and beyond that. With downward expansion coming up, we are trying to bring in as many new students as possible. So this is a great step.
All right, and that's coming up on the 18th.
On the 18th,
right.
The game is at 7, and the social and pre-watch game is at 5:30.
Okay, against the Kings.
The Nuggets.
Nuggets, yes.
Sorry, wrong crappy team. Sorry, yeah.
You know the Spurs, that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. So regarding downward expansion, okay, because your presidency is going to essentially be you're going to be the president during downward expansion. Am I right?
My term will be up in May, so we will see.
Okay. So all right. So we will see. But how is student government looking at that regarding the downward expansion?
The committees have been meeting briefly. We are actually looking at our next step in our next Senate meeting to actually have the provost come and speak to us and talk to my senators. And exactly this. This is going to change the dynamic for the students, for the degree programs. So one of the first things I think that we're looking at right now is in SGA. We are looking at establishing some type of freshman senator or freshman council. I sit on a council with the other student body presidents within the A&M system. So I've been talking with them pretty frequently. Every university has their own way of doing things, but we need to make sure within student government that they are being represented, that they are having a voice. They're letting us know what they do and don't like, just like all the other students do. So during the spring, we're going to probably be adding another branch, which may be more senators, would maybe just a freshman council itself. So the next step after freshman council would come in and then run for a senator position.
Okay, so right now in the SGA Constitution, there's no mention of freshmen at all.
None whatsoever. Exactly.
Okay.
So we have some steps to move. I mean, a lot of changes need to be done to the Constitution as it in itself, just because we are growing. So you have to grow the Constitution. You can't just add senators or members. You have to add that in the Constitution, and that gets very lengthy. You have to have a few meetings and a few approvals for that to happen. Right. So we had an events committee meeting yesterday, actually, and that was the topic of discussion, adding in these freshmen. And also we of course will have sophomores, but our primary focus is those freshmen right now, because the sophomores are going to go in with the juniors and seniors. Right. We need to really figure out with the logistics of everything, with now that we have the new incoming counselors for freshmen, the classes, where are they going to go? It's going to be huge starting next fall. We're definitely going to see the university is going to look very different.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Jerry, you're going to be here.
I'm very excited. There is a lot of things changing here now, and it's pretty crazy. I think the SGA has a really important place on campus because as a commuter campus, it's not necessarily the most traditional campus, obviously, but I think you guys do a very good job of trying to corral everybody up together. So it's definitely a big task in front of you guys. That's awesome that y'all recognize that it's a ginormous task.
It's a huge task, and on top of everyone, because we are commuters, students come and go, so you really have to kind of try and get at students from all fronts, because we're also non-traditional college. A lot of us are first generation college students. Our average age, is in the 30s. So I have students who I can reach through social media, and then I have students who don't even have phones. I have students, I have people who don't get on social media whatsoever, so we're a very diverse campus. So right now as SGA, we're really trying to make sure we reach all aspects of those students, whether they are veterans, whether they are, coming from early college, high school, whatever it is, maybe whether they have social media or not. Our really goal right now is to really make sure that we are branching out and reaching all of these students as much as possible, because that's the only way we're going to properly represent them.
Yeah. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts after we've had so many years where it's just been juniors and seniors.
Exactly. And then you have freshmen and sophomore coming in. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very different, but it's exciting. That means the university is growing, so we ourselves need to grow with it. Our programs need to grow with it, and everything along with it.
So what else is in store for the SGA? I mean, this is a big event. What else are you guys trying to do? The semester is pretty much almost over, but you're ending off with a bang. But what are you gonna? What's coming up for the spring that you guys really are looking to do?
I'm really excited for the spring. Actually, before I had even run for president, I had all kinds of ideas. I had so much that I wanted to do. I was so excited. So over the summer, I think I pretty much did a lot of framework planning of huge events that I wanted to have during my presidency. All of the smaller events was everything that my members thought of. Or I said, you know what, I want this event to happen. Tell me how it should work. Tell me the logistics. Tell me the day. Tell me how it should work. My members decided all of that. For the spring, we are looking at adding, and this is something that I've been wanting to add since I joined SGA. We don't have a memorial service for students, alumni who have passed over the past year. We don't have that. Every other campus has that, and I really think it's an essential part. It's an essential tradition that we need here on campus. And as long as, giving students and helping them with what they need academic-wise, it is also part of my job to help establish traditions, which was a huge part of what I wanted to do during my presidency. So during the spring, and I've already talked with Dr. Matson about this, so I'm really excited. We are going to be having a memorial service that will begin. It'll be our first one that we will do. Right. We are still planning out all of it. I want all of my members' input. I tell them to I'm going to give you a paper. I'm not saying this is the event. I want red Sharpie and red marker all over it of all of your ideas and thoughts. And that's what I tell them. I want red everywhere, to the point where we have so many ideas, we just don't know what to do with everything. That's what I want. That's what SGA is about, with everyone putting in their own input. So that's one event. We are also actually looking at, in the spring, having a Rampage game. For A&M San, for, you have people like hockey, like people with basketball. I've already been approached quite a few times about Rampage. So we're looking at having that in the spring. And hopefully maybe we'll do that every year. Maybe we'll change it up. You never know. We might be looking at a baseball game within the future. But right now, and the thing about Rampage, which is really good, the prices and everything are very reasonable.
Oh, I wonder why.
I wonder why.
I wonder why a hockey game isn't affordable in San Antonio.
But you know what? I hear that the games are amazing. My friend, I've not gone, but everyone that I've talked to have just told me amazing things about how it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. So that is something else that we were looking at in the spring. And of course, on Monday for Welcome Week, we will also do a kickoff for Welcome Week and kickoff for Mad Monday, passing out the Once a Jaguar, Always a Jaguar shirts. We're going to have to figure that one out, because this fall was the first time I kicked off the new tradition. And I was planning to be out there for hours and hours with all my members. There were tons of us. We ran out in the first few hours. So it's kind of one of those things when it's going to be hit or miss. You got to take risks. Yeah. And it turned out really well. So right now we're still laying the foundation of this tradition. The future presidents after me and the future students after me will be the ones to carry this out and ensure that this is a long-lasting tradition. And so that'll be another event that we'll do during Welcome Week. Other than that, everything else we are still planning out some of the finer details of with that. And a lot of those will be written as Senate bills. I did the executive order first week of school, actually, was creating Mad Monday. But at this last Senate meeting, we had Senator Hector Soto actually propose, and the bill was passed for Mad Monday. Because as an executive order, once my term is done, my executive orders are done. Okay. So the Senate decided that this was a tradition that they wanted to keep for the university. So the Senate wrote and passed a bill. So it is officially a new Jaguar tradition on campus. All right. So
interesting.
Yes.
So okay. Now, with your presidency, so prior to this, you were chief of staff for the previous president, Andres Holiday, and now with you being president. So, as the chief of staff, you were you were already in the mix there, so you're kind of familiar.
Very much so.
What's been now that you're president? What's sort of like, oh, that's why this is happening? What's sort of thrown you off?
When I ran, I really had an idea of what I was getting into. I think the most of it was I realized is, in order to be president, you really have to be able to rally people. You really have to be able to rally people and say, hey, you want to make a difference. I know you want to do things. I know this is irritating, so do something. That has probably been one of the most wow kind of moments, whether it's with, and I'm not talking just students, I'm talking about faculty and staff as well. You have to also, do the same with them, get them excited, rally them up at the same time, because you can't establish something or try and change something if you don't have everyone on board, to help make a change on campus. So I know that's been one of them. The amount of meetings.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, man. But,
especially this semester, because of all the downward expansion.
Because of the downward expansion, because of the campus carry, because of the new people that we are hiring. I'm going to one after this for someone that we're hiring, for the university. It is absolutely insane going around that and my class schedule. I also have another part-time job. I'm very involved in a lot of community events and different programs here in San Antonio. It is a whirlwind. It is, but I love being a part of these committees because in a lot of these committees, some of these, administrators or faculty and staff, they don't have no idea what students really want. It really just kind of astounded me when I started these meetings in the summer, and I'm like, no, we don't want this. This is not what we need. I am telling you. I've been on different aspects. I have classes at Brooks campus. I've had classes at Maine. I'm telling you. So I'm very grateful that a lot of the administration have really pushed now to make sure that we have an SGA person on every single committee. So, which is huge. We need, if not, there's no student voice inside those meetings whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I really think it's very important, whereas in many meetings as possible. And the ones that I'm not in or we're not in, I knock on someone's door and figure out who's the chair of that committee and make sure we get one of us in there.
No, I hear you. It's just like with us, where we're having to try to get in touch with administrators, and they're not used to talking to journalists, so we're doing the same thing. We're like, hello, we know you're there. Open up.
Right. Yeah. So the administrators have definitely come up with nicknames for me just because I'm knocking on their doors all the time. I need this. I need that. We need this in the cafeteria. I need this in the game room. I mean, I am doing it constantly. I think I have one of the IT guys on speed dial and my emails for the TVs in the cafeteria. I mean, little things like that, which sounds like it's not a big deal, but I mean, it's all about the atmosphere on campus. It matters. The atmosphere matters. The feeling of feeling you belong on campus, that you actually are a Jaguar and you're not just It's just a pit stop along the way.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Speaking of, so regarding things on campus, there's still, people still have some issues regarding a few things. So I wanted to get your take on a couple. Ideally, one of the big ones is the campus carry.
Of course.
So this was essentially sort of when I spoke with Andres last semester. This was sort of a pet project of his, where he was kind of passing it along. With it happening essentially August of 2016,
right,
that it becomes official. I mean, is there, on the SGA side, is there anything extra that you're going to do regarding conversation about it, or is it pretty much done? I know this coming November 2, this coming, I believe, on the 18th, or was it the 17th?
Oh, you're talking about the forum.
Yeah, there's a quick Q&A forum about it. But as the SGA, are you guys going to do anything else regarding, just informing people regarding anything else?
Because we are now past the point of, do you like this or not do you like this? It's a law. It's happening. It's done. So now at this point in time is really to give everyone the knowledge. There's a lot of students who still on campus probably don't even know that about this law, or they don't know what it means. They don't understand what concealed carry means, or the different terms that go along with it, or what red zones are. So I sit on as a student representative for the concealed carry campus committee, which is huge, and definitely we have a lot to work on as the committee, just because students need this knowledge. They need to understand this Q&A needs to happen on all fronts. So as SGA, during the last, so every time that I meet or I talk, I had a talk actually with our A&M system lawyers, a phone conference actually about a few weeks ago, exactly about this. So you're talking about the loss percentages. Right. So I relayed all of this to SGA. I told them, here are the statistics of students who actually carry on campus. And here's, the amount of students in Texas. I think it was like only 2.4% of students that actually carry. So those percentages are low. And my goal, and this is what I've told all of SGA, was talk to your friends, talk to students, talk to everyone in the class, ask their, not necessarily their opinions, but tell me what concerns maybe that they have. Or what is it that they maybe like about this, or what's something that maybe that they think might be an issue in the future. Right. I really want to understand where they may see that, I don't know, maybe we're missing a gap. Maybe there's a gap somewhere that we aren't sure about. So that's really the main thing that I've asked my members, and I know my number one thing is to make sure that they have all of the knowledge about concealed carry. I've given them the laws on this, information of how it's going to happen, because everyone's going to go towards people within SGA. Hey, what am I going to do about this? So I need all of my members who are leaders on campus, I need them to have all of this knowledge. So as soon as a student asks, I need them to be able to say, hey, it's active. It starts in August 2016. This is what's happening. Tell me your problem. What do you think we should do with concealed carry? So
with this, with the committee. I believe, did y'all meet last week or beginning of the week?
We met the beginning of the week.
Okay. Is this forum a result of that? Because this came out of nowhere.
So this forum, from what I understood, was already kind of up in the air. I heard, this may or may not be happening. But from that committee meeting, because we have to have certain recommendations done by December. Those recommendations need done by December. We don't meet in December. No, no one's going to go to events in December. We have finals. We have things going on. It's just not realistic. So you have to do it in November. You have Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So they immediately from that meeting, these forums were pushed out.
Gotcha.
The office of the general counsel from the A&M system was also in that meeting. And he said, look, other schools within the A&M system have already had forums. You need to have these forums. And one of my suggestions was, rather than just coming in person for 1 hour, students maybe, this one of the forums, I think I have class, so I can't attend. But what if I want to know what's going on during that meeting? What if I still want to be able to get the knowledge from it? I said that I told them we need to have different avenues to reach people. You can't just do it in person. You need to do it, whether it's an email form, you need to do it through social media. You need to have different avenues to reach as many students as possible on this.
Yeah. Well, let's go over, since you're here, since we've covered it quite a bit on the side, on the Mesquite, let's go over a few things regarding it. So essentially, it is open to people that have their concealed carry license.
Correct.
And obviously they have to go through whatever channels to
right.
To get that.
You have to get your state. You have to do your state application. You have to do fingerprinting. You have to do a background check. You have to do a class. You have to do a shooting accuracy test, and you have to do a written exam. So it's very lengthy.
Right. And then they under this. So what's happening that we're basically we've been trying to figure out on our end, trying to get details of, is that from what the law said is that it's allowed on campuses, public campuses, but it's dependent onto the university to sort of the president to figure out where they're allowed.
Right.
So they may be not allowed in the dorms, but they're allowed on different buildings. They may not be allowed in stadiums, but they may be allowed in the student center.
Right.
And essentially, the president has a right to say no guns here, but it can't be to where it looks like they're totally banned.
Correct.
Yeah, I guess it's...
So I'll expand on that a little bit. So the university president, each university president from the system as well as in Texas gets to make their recommendation for what they want to consist, and we call them red zones.
Right.
So the no guns allowed, they are red zones. But the committee makes our recommendations. We give it to Dr. Mattson. From there, her recommendation, and she takes that to the Board of Regents. The Board of Regents still has to pass and approve her recommendation.
Right.
So there are channels that has to...
Yeah, they essentially have the trump card of it all.
Exactly, and they do. So one of the main things, and we discussed this, was so what's going to be a red zone and what's not. Of course, anywhere that alcohol is being served, that's a red zone. There's no guns allowed. So Festival de Cascarones, that's going to be a no guns allowed zone. One of the things was, okay, so if we want to make, zones, where would we make them? Maybe counseling centers, maybe anywhere where business, money is being held. So the business office, possibly counseling, HR, different things like that. They may have students who may get kind of riled up, high emotional places.
So it's that specific. It's not just the actual building, it's
not,
the actual room.
Exactly. So you're not going to... I can tell you right now, if we can come in and say we want no guns in any of the classrooms, it's not going to pass, because then you're basically putting off limits in a building. So that's not going to happen. So, but one thing that might be a fruit I know is discussed is maybe one of the rooms where chemicals are being put. So maybe some of the biology labs where there are going to be chemicals and things like that. I know student orgs had a question during one of our general council meetings, and they said, well, what if I'm going to have an event on campus and I want my event to be like a red zone event?
All right.
Can I have that? Well, I can't make the auditorium a non-red zone and then one day make it a red zone. Can't do that. You can't have it up or down. It's not going to work that way.
Okay.
Law-wise, that's not going to be okay. Now, the only way that will be possible is if you have a very legitimate reason as to why. I mean, it has to be a very good reason. But the general counsel basically said, it's not going to happen. If they want it somewhere where a red zone, then they need to go into a red zone and have their meeting there.
But you said that with the festival, the Cascarones,
but
because that's
alcohol's being
so
served.
That becomes,
correct.
Even though
it's
out in the open and that's not such a red zone, but on that day because the alcohol.
Yeah, but here's the thing too: you can make every room a red zone. It's concealed carry. You're not gonna know. You are not going to know. That's the thing. We can have students who have been years, maybe who've already carried on campus, but it's concealed that we don't know. So some students are expecting a huge change or shift that's going to happen, when in reality, it's not. That really is not going to happen. There's not going to be this huge shift of everyone getting CHLs. It just isn't. So, so now it's gone to a discussion, and we do have Chief Davidson in the room, who is putting his input in it, which is fantastic. We definitely need that.
Oh, so you're actually getting input from him.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike us. Unlike us, we're just no comments, essentially.
Yes. Well, and I think a lot for that reason is because we haven't decided on exactly what is what. But so I've been very vocal in that meeting. I think I'm probably at least on 70% of those meeting minutes. And another thing was, like I said, it's a red zone. You may or may not know. So you have to, at one point, you either have to trust that they are a law-abiding citizen and they are putting their weapon back in their vehicle or wherever they come from. The only way, though, will be a student or someone calling the UPD office and saying, hey, I think someone's carrying, I think this is dangerous. And that police officer will then go to that student and gauge what is happening from there. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. We can make red zones, but, we can only do so much. We can only put up a sign that doesn't necessarily mean it will always be followed. But we are trying to do the best that we can and make the right decisions for the campus.
Okay. Another thing. So, beginning of the year practically, we're over here. We're having our editorial meetings, and a student, older gentleman, comes up with his container of Hannah food and says, I had to pay $7 for this sandwich. What's going on?
Right.
And it's been something that we've sort of tackled in the past. We're tackling it again. Right. So regarding the cafeteria and the what's available for students, I mean, as SGA president, I mean, what are you able to sort of help the students with about that?
So we hired our CFO, Daryl Morrison, and he's fantastic. I let him get cozy for a few weeks in the summer and wait for him to kind of get used to things. I initially set a meeting. Over the summer, I was like, I know you've only been here a few weeks, but I have things I need you to take care of.
Right.
And the number one on the list was the cafeteria. Yeah. That was the number one thing that we discussed. And I actually just had a meeting with him last week and discussed that. So right now, and it kind of goes in hand with what I'm already doing. So it's kind of working out together. Along with bringing down those food prices and figuring out that I had to first figure out our contract with Chartwell's. So I had to go through that contract and figure out what we can and can't do, because we were very stuck in a bind at one point. The thing with Chartwell's, though, because they're used within the system, we are at a point within our university where we are too large from a mom and pop type of company to sell for food service, but we are also too small, for places that are much larger like Chartwell's and beyond.
Right.
We are in a very weird middle spot right now.
Yeah, we're not big enough where we could have our own Subway,
exactly.
Chick-fil-A,
because at the end of the day, Chartwell's has to make a profit. But at the end of the day, too, if I can go across the street for Whataburger and I can pay $3 cheaper and Whata-size everything, I mean, what am I going to choose?
Yeah, exactly.
So I talked with Mr. Morrison and I said, look, these prices are ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. First off, we're on the South Side. We're college students. We have to be able to do something about this. And I said, while we're already talking about bringing those food prices down, I said, I also want to throw in another initiative. He says, okay. What now? I said, I want to add in promo and meal deals. So Mad Mondays, I want to have a promotion that day for Mad Mondays. Maybe you go in and you buy chips and a drink and you get, and a burger and you get free drink, something like that. Right. Some type of promotion meal deal or $5 deal that day. I'm also creating promotional deals for the day that CAB is doing karaoke Tuesdays, music scene, different days like that. So any day that CAB's doing anything with the cafeteria, I'm also creating promotion days for that as well. And it's going to be for a number of reasons. The cafeteria has been dead because it's too expensive. Right. It's too expensive. No one's going in there. Mm-hmm. So I fed off of what the bookstore's been doing. Bookstore's been having sales and deals like crazy. Mm-hmm. And they're getting footwork in there. So I'm doing the same thing with the cafeteria. So I know one of the steps that we first did, which was great, was brought in that Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's making people go down there more often.
Right, exactly. So we added Starbucks coffee in there. One of the other things is I'm trying to change up the food menu a little bit and add some more options. I said, we're here and I'm here for 3 years or 2 years and I see the same things on the menu every single day. Mm-hmm. No, we need options. So right now we are looking at adding different food options to the menu. Our goal, me and Mr. Morrison are really pushing this. We want pizza like 1 day a week. We want pizza, and so I'm in the cafeteria a lot. I talk to those who work there. One of the cook, Darian, I said, so could you make pizza in here? Like, is there, I said, is there capabilities to do that in here? He goes, oh yeah, I'm so, he was all about it. So I was like, okay, thank you, Darian. Awesome, Mm-hmm. So, And so with bringing in different food options, we're also going to be looking at slowly the food prices are going to drop a little bit, but they're only going to drop so much. And the reason, like I said, for that is because they still need to make a profit. Right. They still have to make something, which is kind of bad because the point is that they're here serving us. We need to be able to have reasonable prices on campus. We're already paying for tuition and everything else. Mm-hmm. We pay for our student parking, everything. You need to at least make it reasonable. Right now, it's as if I'm going to a huge, Division I UT campus school and getting food over there, that's from a, Chinese restaurant or something.
There's an actual variety there.
Yeah, there's a variety there. It's different, but here, it's inexcusable. There's no reason for it to be as much as it is. So you're also going to see different promotion deals, as in come in and get so many cups of coffee, your next one's free. So you're going to see little stamp cards that we're going to start having. So there a lot of those promotional deals are hopefully going to start bringing in more students, buying more food. Once we have more students doing that, the food prices will drop. As turned around as it sounds, but sometimes that's kind of how the business has to work. So doing what I can.
Interesting. That's an interesting example of economics.
Yes.
All right. So before we let you go, before we let you escape from this dungeon, I want to ask you about this. So the past couple of days have been very interesting with on-campus development in other cities and other colleges. Ideally, mainly the big two ones. The big ones are regarding Yale. How there was a whole controversy regarding costumes, and one staffer said it's not a big deal. Then obviously the Missouri thing, where the president has resigned, the chancellor has resigned, and now we're us as journalism people, where we saw how one of the photojournalist was treated and not told not to photograph in public, which is allowed. So
interesting.
So as these controversies sort of pile on at universities, what is your take on it as president? Because I remember last semester, Andres he put a resolution together because I believe his University of California, Irvine put together a resolution saying we don't want the U.S. flag on campus because some people find it offensive. Right. And he put a resolution together to
say, and that was passed within the Senate, and it kind of goes to one of those things of you're in America. What do you mean you don't want a flag on campus? You are here. You were choosing to be here, and I think everyone's gotten so to the point of being so politically correct instead of putting the students and who they serve first.
Yeah, there's a crazy video where one I forget if the person was a reporter or something along those lines, goes to a administrator and just says, you know what, this free speech thing has got me, and they're throwing the Constitution around. Can we get rid of the Constitution? And the administrator's like, yeah, if that makes you feel better.
I mean,
if that makes you feel better, we'll get rid of the Constitution.
People are kind of trying to pick and choose when and at what point in time does it benefit me to follow the rules or follow the Constitution.
Right.
I mean, us ourselves within SGA has seen that in the past. We have people who chose when and when not to follow the Constitution. So from then it gets sticky, and at one point it's like, okay, well, are you putting your needs and your wants first, or are you putting us who voted you into office and who chose you to be here first? And I think at the end, I think people are getting distracted from that. And I think just with the, concealed carry happening and all these different laws that are kind of going into effect and the healthcare and everything, we have really just, it's turned upside down.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have kind of been thrown for the loop right now. And not everyone knows how to handle everything, and I think, and not everyone likes, freedom of speech. Not everyone is for it. They're only for it is if it's in their favor. If they like what's being said, then they're okay with freedom of speech.
Right.
But at the same time, I know with one of the student body presidents, it's, doing the racial type of accusations and discrimination things. There's a time and a place, and that if you're a student body president, people are looking to you for leadership, and people are looking at you to represent students. So you have to remember, in anything and everything that you do, you are representing your university, you are representing students. Wasn't a very good move. You know what I mean? And I think you kind of get in the atmosphere of being on a college campus, and I think we kind of get in a college campus bubble of what we think sometimes our version of what the world is, without realizing we are in the real world, but we have not yet stepped out into the real world because we are still on this college campus. Right. So kind of messes with your mentality a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, you're in a way, you're kind of fortunate in that since you're dealing with a bunch of non-traditional students,
right?
You're dealing with people that do have lives and do have experience, and they're not.
You always have those few certain people, who are always out there and who are. You as a leader, you're never going to be fully in favor of absolutely everybody, and that's just kind of that's what the role is. And any leadership position role, that's just how it is. But I've been grateful enough that I've known enough students and I know enough people to where, they're grateful so far with what I've done. But I go to them all the time. So what else do I need to do? Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Yeah. I want that positive, constructive criticism. Tell me what I can do to make it better. I'm trying to continually not just evolve as a president, but evolve within my leadership to make it better on campus. Because then if not, I've wasted a year with myself and everyone else as president. I'm here to do things.
Gotcha.
And so I'm only going to do that by talking with everyone and bugging everyone and all the time. So.
Well, speaking of do things, you got to do things right now. So I very much appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed it. And
yes, thank you.
By all means, please come back. We're definitely trying to get this as regular as possible and get people.
I think this is an amazing avenue to have. I think this is absolutely fantastic. This is great.
All right. Well, and you can follow Alison on Twitter. It's at Ali Garcia 19, and then also the SGA. Do you know the SGA?
SGA TAMUSA.
SGA
TAMUSA.
Okay. All right. We're gonna come back with the news, me and Jerry, but we say goodbye to Alison right now as she has to depart to do more political stuff. All right. Thank you
very
Alison.
much. Thank you.
And here we go. Okay, so we're back. This time it's just myself and Jerry here. And now it's time for the news with Jerry. All right, so Jerry, let's go over first what's happening with the Mesquite. What's been up on Mesquite so
far? All right, well, recently we've uploaded a few articles, mostly we had one that came out a couple days ago on Campus Carry Committee that met, like Alison said a little bit earlier. Will this be before or after?
This is going to be after.
Okay.
Which is now awkward that you asked that.
Yeah, it is kind of awkward that I asked that. But like Alison talked about a little bit, after they met this past Monday, they're going to have another meeting next week, November 18th, 3 to 4 p.m. here in the Madla building of room 204, room 207. And the following day, 5 to 6 p.m. at Brooks campus. So I don't think that this one is going to be as intense. I think that the first one had a little bit more fire behind it.
Right. So the November 18th, I spoke with the assistant to CFO Morrison. I spoke to his assistant. Essentially, what they're going to do is it's sort of a Q&A, kind of explain what we did was on regards to how the red zones are going to work, who's allowed with guns, who's not. So it's going to go over that if you have any questions. But it's just going to be Mr. Morrison is going to be at the Brooks meeting, which is the Brooks Forum, which is on the 19th at 5 o'clock?
5 to 6 p.m.
And then Dr. Mahan, the Vice President of Student Affairs, is going to be here. So she's going to be taking care of that. Now, if you have any questions regarding campus carry, we do have a lot of stories about it for students right there about the committee. Mm-hmm. And also we have videos of the different forums that have happened regarding campus carry as well. So it's still subject. People are still talking about it. If you want to let your voice be heard, if you don't like the fact that there are some people may have guns in the classroom, I mean, you got to say something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What else we got?
We also have uploaded a video of SPJ, the Society of Professional Journalists. We have our chapter here uploaded about a 5-minute video talking about Jaguar Pride, interviewing students. Mm-hmm. If you guys haven't seen it, I saw it this morning. It was pretty good. It's kind of crazy to see what happens to some people when the camera's in front of their face. They feel like...
Especially in this case, because it's such a, we're, like Alison said, it's, you got to rally people. Mm-hmm. And you really wonder if people kind of care as much or if they don't, And that's where they were talking to actual students and saying, hey, do you even know what the mascot of the university is? Yeah. So it is interesting to see. And that's the Society of Professional Journalists there.
Although they kind of gave it away with the background painting. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it's just Jaguars, like right there behind you, the Jaguars. Okay.
And so those are the stories that we've had to go up. We're also hoping to get out a few stories today on Fashion Week. We had 3 or 4 reporters cover Fashion Week.
Yeah, we had quite a bit.
Yeah.
3 reporters, 3 photographers. They all enjoyed it. The photographers, they definitely did. Mm-hmm. They definitely got elbowed quite a bit. It's a mean world when you do fashion photography at those runways.
I know you told them that it was good practice for the future.
You have to, especially with photographers, you have to muscle your way into a shot because no one's going to give you the perfect shot. Mm-hmm. You also mentioned real quick about their Cervantes.
Yes. Last week we talked about, I had written an article on Instituto Cervantes, also the Spanish program that's going to be available here next fall. Instituto Cervantes is going to have a speaker. His name is Ben Goldstein. He's coming all the way from Barcelona, and he's going to be speaking. The name of his talk is Keeping the Screenagers Happy in the Language Classroom. So essentially what he's going to be talking about is how video is used in today's world. Mm-hmm. And how to best connect with the young generation and how to use video that is already currently out to teach and to teach those young students how to create their own material. It's going to start, it's next Monday, November, what was it? 16th. 5:30 p.m. There's going to be hors d'oeuvres and drinks. And then the speech begins at 6 o'clock. And it's going to be auditorium here on the main campus. The auditorium is to the right if you're looking straight at
there's
campus.
4 buildings on this campus.
True.
So you got a 25% shot of getting on your first
it's
try.
not the big white one. It's if you're coming down University Way, it's the furthest to your right.
Yeah.
Our auditorium.
25% shot. That's good odds.
Yeah, you're right. That is pretty good.
There's audio interview with Eric Cooper. So those that have been wondering about downward expansion, we spoke with Jocelyn, one of our reporters spoke with Eric Cooper, who's working at enrollment. They're looking to have about 600 new students, freshmen and sophomore.
Yeah, I think she detailed on the page that they're hoping for about 300 freshmen, 300 sophomore. Yeah.
So that's going to be the first class, and the couple of interesting things that I didn't know is that because we're a commuter campus, there's really no sort of housing very nearby. So they are suggesting a couple of things. First off, did you know Palo Alto's they're gonna build a housing for Palo Alto College?
I did not know that.
So across the streets, across the highway, that's where they're planning on building a housing setup.
Wow.
So it's gonna be sort of like the Tobin Loft. It's over there with San Antonio College. And he mentioned that that's also what they're going to do, is they're going to try to push people to the Tobin Loft. Although Tobin Loft, I don't know. Do you get updates regarding crime and?
I do. Yeah.
Do you see Tobin Loft up there quite a bit? It is. I don't know what's going on there.
I wouldn't put my stuff there.
No, it's theft, vandalism, theft, drunk, drunk.
Yeah.
It's kind of nutty, and it's such a nice place. It's right next to. It's a perfect. Well, it's a perfect place in that there's a lot of food around there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of there's stuff that's it's a nice place where there's stuff in walking distance.
Nice location, yeah.
But it just so happens to be a nice place to get stuff stolen. So that's the Tobin Loft, and they're gonna. I mean, that's. People want to live on their own. I mean, it's not that far away, but that's tricky.
That is pretty tricky.
Yeah. So, what else are we looking at today?
Like Alison mentioned a little bit earlier, November 18th against the Nuggets, 7:30 p.m., A&M Spurs Night. You can get all the information online through the SGA page, through the Texas A&M Facebook page.
Yeah, there's the pregame show.
Pregame show to see them warm up.
5:30.
And like Alison said, it's open to current students, faculty, staff, alumni, anybody. You just gotta follow. I think it's like spurs.com/groups or something like that, and then you have to put in a promo code. So we want to build up as much tradition as possible, and I think the Spurs are a good way to start.
Hey, you can't go wrong with the cheap ticket.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, you can't go wrong with that. Anything else?
The last thing that we have is my reporting class has been working on setting up a mixer for the communications program. That's going to be Thursday, December 3rd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now, I do believe that's the last Thursday before finals, or is that the last week of the semester?
That's technically before finals.
That's the last week of regular classes.
Yeah, that's the last week of classes.
So it's going to be 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're going to have DJ Chacho. We're going to have some door prizes, hopefully. What else are we going to have? A photo area with some props, some drinks, some food. It's really just setting it up as an opportunity for students to get a break from finals, really. And for the Mesquite, what we're hoping to do is interact more with our readers.
Right.
So if you guys, we're telling you about this now, you have absolutely no reason to not be there and to mingle with us and to give us the good leads.
So, and with the JagCast, I mean, obviously you can tell that it's recorded. We are attempting to live stream it, hopefully soon, to a live stream it. Right now, our recordings, we record on Thursday, we publish it the following Tuesday, but ideally we want to live stream it via YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be plastering the link everywhere once we do start our live streaming. And aside from that, keep checking the website, mesquite-news.com. You can follow us on Twitter at The Mesquite, Instagram, The Mesquite, and Facebook, Mesquite News. Anything else that we forgot, Jerry, that you can think of?
I think we covered almost everything. I just wanted to say, though, with Alison, she made a point about college students and political correctness. And you had a really good tweet yesterday about Jerry Seinfeld. That was, I had never thought, I mean, I've heard him talk about political correctness on universities, and it just did not click with everything that was going on, and I just really thought that was an awesome tweet.
Yeah, and just that, so a few months ago, Jerry Seinfeld, in a very sort of casual interview, mentioned how he doesn't do college campuses. Now, mind you, he probably hasn't done college campuses in a while, but a lot of comedians do. For comedians, that's sort of like almost that's one of the bigger steps for a comedian is college campuses because it's a lot more money. But what a lot of comedians are finding is that the college campuses are really the most offended people you could do in front a comedy act in front of. And he said that basically the college students these days don't know about racism and sexism. They just throw it out there without really knowing the meaning. And a lot of people, especially in the comedy industry, were saying, how, of course he's right on. And he wasn't the first one to say that. Chris Rock was practically one of the first ones to say that. George Carlin was one of the first ones to say that. But he then, right when people started, cheering for him and saying, "Yeah, you're right," then immediately a lot of people said, "Oh no, he's just a fossil. It's just you're just a bad joke teller." And of course, it's Jerry Seinfeld. He doesn't curse, and it's hardly offensive. But people are, "Oh, you're just not a good joke teller, Mr. Seinfeld." And now we have what's happening on college campuses, and it's really, really awkward. The Missouri thing, you've seen the video now multiple times in classes. I've seen it on my own. What happened when you see a student journalist who's there trying to take pictures and being told by a faculty person who teaches media studies, saying, no, you can't photograph, and I'm going to get some people to move you. That's scary. And it made, we've on campus, in the Mesquite meetings, we've discussed a lot of topics that have been controversial. We've discussed a lot of different, things where we get upset. But you want to talk about journalists getting upset? That really gets everybody mad when they see that happening, especially from the faculty saying, "No, you can't do this," which is within your rights as given by the Constitution. So and it's been a real thing, and it's. I know part of me is upset. Part of me though is like, man, I kind of wish that happened here because that'd be great stories. That'd be we'd be in the newsroom all day and all night just clicking away. But we hope that you guys don't do that. Students. We hope that we kind of hope you don't, but we kind of do because it's when you're compiling these stories and you're hearing all these inputs and it's just all this content that you just want to give to the world and just inform people about. It's exciting things. That's why we get into journalism.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for us. So for Jerry Quijano, you can follow him at Jerry Quijano on Twitter, and I am editor-in-chief of the Mesquite, Oscar Gonzalez. Follow me at Original Gamer 1, and we will check you next time on JagCast.